Om Shanti. The name of today's chapter is The Highest Education in the World. As things calmed down again in Karachi, the work of the spiritual university went ahead. Brahma Baba taught knowledge to the growing family of children, teaching through example as much as through precept. And with the power of yoga, the souls who had faith in God were going ahead remarkably, attaining stability of thought in every testing situation. In quotes, you have entered Marjiva Janam, the living death, unquote. Baba taught us. Quote, this is the first lesson on the path of progress. Your worldly relatives have broken all relations with you. Your worldly relatives have broken all relations with you. You are already dead to them. When the soul takes a new birth after death, it no longer remembers the sins or the relatives of its past life. In the same way, though you are alive in the same physical body, you are dead to worldly ties. Here you have received a new birth. So do not remember the old relations. Now you have taken refuge with God. You are God's direct children. So remember only Him. You are twice born. You are Brahmins of the mouth-born dynasty of Brahma. And so your intellect should only be linked only with God. If attachment to others persists, you cannot claim your birthright. The highest freedom will remain beyond your grasp. Parents learn to see their children as their brothers and sisters. Children lost their attachment to their physical parents and connected only to Shiv Baba. Men even looked upon women as brothers, not sisters, for all are simply souls who take one kind of vehicle after another. One life you may be male, the next you may be female. With this brotherly vision, all sensual temptations were mastered, and the mind was free to rest in God. For some, of course, the battle was more difficult, yet Baba's counsel was totally dependable. Children, he said, firstly be victorious over your sense organs. Many times, bad or unclean thoughts will arise in the mind due to old sanskaras, tendencies. You must try to make them pure through knowledge and yoga. But from now on, no bad actions should be performed. If you perform action which goes against the knowledge, you will suffer 100-fold in return. Before, you were ignorant, but now you know your true self and your true duty. You have the true aim and effort. So, both the rewards and the risks are greater. Do not look at anyone with attachment. Do not utter false words. Do not listen to wrong things. Work with detachment and establish yourself in the remembrance of God. Take only pure food and always have a smiling face and a pleased mind. Brahma Baba taught them inner dignity in every aspect of their lives. This is what separated their practice from ordinary religions. They were not worshipping God, but rather they were learning to become worship worthy. Religion, Baba reminded, is might. Someday our internal power, the power of silence, would overcome external power, the power of science. And we would rule the world in unlimited peace, happiness, and prosperity. That time is now so close, one can feel it easily. No part of life was off limits to the need for purification, and Brahma Baba had teachings to offer about each act. With sleep, for example, Brahma Baba taught them that the method of making the dreams pure and the sleep restful was by sitting in meditation and remembering God before going to bed. Many times Baba would visit the bungalows at 2 a.m. when the children of the yajna were sleeping, and he would point out to some of those who went with him the faces of the sleepers. Look, from their faces, we can say these have slept after remembering God. Their sleep is pure. But the faces of these others who were lying in the unconscious state of tamonidra, impure sleep. By teaching the children how to control their sense organs and how to transcend attachment to objects and bad habit patterns, Brahma Baba enabled them to achieve rapid purification of the mind. If your decisions are not pure, Baba taught, bad actions will take place through the organs of action. So make the mind completely pure. The more you remain in the remembrance of God and are intoxicated in that stage of loving remembrance, the more the mind will become purified. If before the coming of the world destruction, you have not made your mind completely pure, then you will not come into the golden aged world, and you will be born into the silver age instead. Brahma Baba was a constant source of inspiration and wisdom to those who lived in the yajna. He taught the subtlest secrets of how to invoke in the self divine attributes such as introspection, lightheartedness, balance, tolerance, humility, patience, perseverance, and willpower. And they were accumulating more reserves of that precious power each day with every moment of meditation. Baba and Om Radhe, who were also called by the names Yagyapita and Yagyamata, mother and father of the Yagya, made complete arrangements for the food and lodging of the Brahmins who lived there. Every need was fulfilled. Those who lived in the Yagya had won the most golden opportunity in all of history. In the past, a few souls had the chance to spend time at the side of Christ, and there were some who wandered India alongside the Buddha. Others had the chance to know other notable pure souls of this great world drama, from Abraham to the many gurus of the contemporary period. But here in Om Mandali, these most fortunate souls were about to grow up with God Himself as their Father. Shiv Baba played not one but three roles with them, as he still does today. He is the father, teacher, and Satguru, true Guru, the giver of complete spiritual knowledge. Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba were the true fathers, and both provided such love and guidance as only those who were there can comprehend. Brahma Baba often took the children to the ocean beach. They had great parties there. He always thought of new games for them to play, and if anyone got hurt, Baba made sure complete medical attention was given. Baba performed the part of mother as well as father. There's a poetry. Oh, my friends, since I have come to the shores of the ocean of peace, a breeze has been blowing constantly of happiness and love. Oh, my friends, since I have come to the gates of Om Mandali, I have kept company of only one beloved, God. Now what riches have I got? I have the secret mantra to control my mind, and in a moment I am master. I have the eye of vision, and in a moment I am transported to heaven. Ah, my friends, I have danced with Krishna. I have enjoyed that rarest luck. false pleasures, false griefs have left me now, and only the sweet and even balance of the peaceful mind remains. The nectar of knowledge gives new life at every moment. Who could live without it? Oh, friends, I have been sold into the hands of God. I belong to Him alone. This body and mind are His, not mine. Ah, since the day I found Om Mandali, I have died to the pleasures of this world, and I am alive as never before. It is the moment of my happiness. Next chapter, the title is Assassinate Brahma. Om Radhe, the charge, Om Radhe, in charge of the institution, developed her divine qualities and brought them out in others as well. She was a perfect mirror, reflecting each soul's final stage. If ever anyone performed some wrong action, Mama would seem not to notice. One mistake doesn't justify another, she said simply. Getting upset is a mistake, so how can I do it? So, reading that one more time. If ever anyone performed some wrong action, Mama would seem not to notice. One mistake doesn't justify another, she said simply. Getting upset is a mistake, so how can I do it? Some souls occasionally got up in worrying about their own defects. This is body consciousness, said Maya. Don't, this is body consciousness, said Mama. Don't worry, just observe the faults and then remove them. Replace defects with virtues. Never compare yourself with others. She reiterated, except with Brahma Baba. This brings about fast progress without either depression or arrogance. Mamma's main quality was introspectiveness. She took seriously the words of Shiv Baba. Turn within and I will burn your sins. Mamma received many loving names during the course of her term at the university. Shiv Baba himself pronounced her the original Saraswati, goddess of knowledge, and Jagadamba, mother of the world. Others called her Mateshwari, mother goddess, or Yagya Mata, but the name which stuck is the one of simple love and trust, Mama. The personalities of Brahma Baba and Mama were too pure and powerful to be opposed directly, but the forces of the anti party still simmered with anger, and they concocted one last, terrible scheme by which to end the work of the Yajna once and for all, to assassinate Brahma Baba. A committee of anti party members went out to one of the mountainous regions of India to locate the most experienced assassin they could find. One name that they heard most often among their underworld contacts was that of a legendary warrior, a Sikh bandit of a remote tribe who was wanted for murder in several states. They found him after much difficulty. The man was very dark, tall and lean, with hard muscles from a lifetime of trekking barefoot in all weathers through the Himalayan slopes, fighting with knife and sword and handmade spear. He wore only a loincloth and a turban and a long, gleaming blade that hung at his side. The anti party members made him an offer which the bandit accepted. He accompanied them back to Karachi. There they showed him a picture of Brahma Baba, drew him a plan of the house where Brahma Baba lived, and carefully circled in red ink the room where Brahma Baba was known to stay. The bandit was to break in, run up to Brahma Baba's room, do his dirty work, and then bring back evidence of his success to a prearranged rendezvous point where he would be paid. A car would then escort him back to the foothills of his own region. The university had long ago made preparations to prevent unwanted intruders from entering its grounds. There was a brother who nightly walked the perimeters of the yard, keeping an attentive eye out for suspicious people. A sister was also posted at each door, and a guard remained on the second landing as well. In addition, Brahmababa was hardly ever alone. He usually dictated letters well into the night so that at least one sister was present helping him at his desk. But one night, a chain of inexplicable occurrences brought about a lapse in the Yagya's security. One of the school's cars came in with a flat tire, and the brother on guard went to the shed to help get it repaired. The sister at the door was called away for some reason to the kitchen, and the girl on the second landing had gone down to fetch dinner for Brahma Baba, who that evening was working alone in his room. It was on that night, with the starlit veiled by with the starlight veiled by impenetrable clouds, that the bandit chose to strike. He arrived at the very moment the premises were unguarded. He crossed the lawn, pried open a front window, and slipped silently inside. The bandit quickly oriented himself. Finding the stairway, he lunged up to the second landing. There he wheeled right, facing the door of Brahmababa's room. Sword at the ready, he turned the knob and fiercely strode inside. Brahmababa looked up from his papers. He had been preparing points on the power of purity to be included in the new book on the knowledge. He was collecting points collected from the morning's discourses by Shiv Baba. When he saw his unannounced visitor, Brahma Baba realized everything immediately. Yet he did not react. He was without fear. Brahma Baba had not the slightest concern for his own welfare. If Shiv Baba wishes to continue using this poor old body for his medium, he reasoned to himself, then he will see to it that the vehicle survives. It is his responsibility, not mine. And with that thought, Brahma Baba looked fearlessly at the sick bandit. He smiled, but the bandit did not smile back. In fact, he did not even see Brahma Baba sitting in front of him, though they were less than 5 feet apart. For as soon as he had entered the room, the bandit had been engulfed in a golden mist. Blinded by the unearthly light, the bandit stumbled. He will, his will to destroy began to weaken. He lost the sense of his body completely. He lost the sense of his body entirely. He felt as if he had died and ascended to nirvana. All memory of his original purpose was washed away. The sword dropped from his hand. The dazed Sikh groped his way out of the room and into the hall. At last, the sister returned with Brahmababa's dinner and spotted the intruder. She sounded the alarm. The bandit was quickly brought downstairs, but Brahmababa gave instruction for him to be treated well. The bewildered warrior was informed that he had arrived at God's own abode and that he could be remorseful for his past sins by living a life of purity. The Sikh was very happy to hear this. He smiled broadly, like a child. They gave him food and sent him away with the instruction to remember God and to be non-violent. The Sikh swore that he would, and strode off. The next day, when the anti-party learned what had happened, they simply stared in disbelief. They made no further attempts of that kind. Last chapter today is World Service Begins. The Supreme Being, God the Father, Shiva, continued to descend each day from the dimension of light into the corporeal world. He entered the body of Brahma and spoke through his mouth, revealing ever deeper truths to the souls lucky enough to recognize him. He urged them to consider themselves to be souls. He explained how to regain the exalted stage of being an angel. But God had not taken the trouble to come to earth simply to uplift a few people in remote India. He came for all the world. And so, and so, when the first children became strong enough, he began to send them out to give the word to others. Eventually, the news of God's coming must reach the entire population of the world, for all souls are God's children and deserve a chance to take their inheritance. Of course, many would refuse what God offered because the all powerful Lord chose to use the body of an ordinary person rather than a president or king or even a saint or guru. Those with weak intellects assumed that Brahma Baba was the real founder of the yajna. They believed him to be the guru of the Brahma Kumaris. Because Shiv Baba could not be physically seen, they refused to believe in his existence, despite the fact that he spoke directly to people every day, revealing the truth using simple yet profound words. In ignorance, they showered abuse on Brahma's head, yet the work of God went on. And now the children took on an ever greater share of the responsibility, for they were anxious to establish heaven and then to go and live there. The outreach service began in earnest 5 or 6 years after the founding of the yajna. One day Shiv Baba said, through Brahma, to the mothers and sisters who were gathered round, now you have become mature and you are filled with God's power. You must return to your own physical parents and relatives and to all those who did harm to you, and you must fulfill your obligations to them. You know the proverb that charity begins at home. Baba gave further counsel to be aware of 6 things while away on service. In quotes, your mental state must be complete. You must be established in soul consciousness, so others may experience a divine revelation. Do not create the illusion that you are their daughter or sister. They must realize that a Shakti, an angel, stands before them. You should appear so awesome that they will not dare to hug you out of attachment. You can eat fruit or milk or pure food. Don't take anything else. Because you are a child of God's dynasty, you cannot accept any of their money. The food and money of others have a great effect on the mind. By giving them the knowledge, you have to change their understanding of life and inspire them to lead a pure and divine existence by making them realize the greatness of your own life. By giving them the knowledge, you have to change their understanding of life and inspire them to lead a pure and divine existence by making them realize the greatness of your own life. Be in an intense state of remembrance of God while giving this introduction, and they will be awed and eager to know more and to experience the same happiness and power. Then they will also come to the satsang. Om Shanti.